Oh, hello. You're watching Unboxing Things, a show where we unbox your favorite brands and talk all about the box itself. Packaging, unboxing experience, e-commerce. It's a crazy world out there, and we're here to help make sense of it. Now, I'm Jesse Janae, and let's see what's in our handy mailbox today. It's a big one. It's a big one. It's got pink on it. I love pink. Oh, woo! Okay, we have Imperfect Produce. Imperfect Produce is near and dear to my heart. It is a business model that ships imperfect and surplus produce to your doorstep. Produce that would otherwise might be wasted or thrown out or rotted before it got a chance to be eaten. And that is unacceptable, my friends. And Imperfect Produce is helping fix it. This business model is innovative, and they've had to engineer a supply chain just as innovative as the concept. They have to do a lot of the heavy lifting and work themselves. This package didn't arrive via FedEx or UPS. It actually came in a refrigerated truck that Imperfect Produce operates in the Los Angeles area. The business model is so innovative, I think that they're going to carry through a lot of that spirit into the packaging and a lot of the communication around why they do what they do. It starts here. We grew up together. 1 in 5 fruits and veggies grown in the US don't meet the strict cosmetic standards of grocery stores, often causing them to go to waste. Just because that apple doesn't get to be in a Gerber commercial doesn't mean it shouldn't be eaten by a well-meaning person. So, Imperfect Produce is set to help me figure that out. Other things that they're sharing, they've got their URL here, imperfectproduce.com. They've got the logo. They've got this beautiful heart, which also looks like a piece of produce. I love that. This panel, lots of information. Also, lots of color. By enjoying this produce, you are supporting farmers by helping them sell more of what they grow. This is a great message. Not only does Imperfect Produce mean produce got saved, but also human effort. Farmers grow this stuff. The pink and white I think is really neat. Pink and white are not two brand colors you see used very often. So when I see this box, I immediately know I'm looking at an Imperfect Produce box. I'm going to use my handy giant loop to actually look at this print fidelity. They left a nice amount of space there so the prints don't overlap, especially in an area like this where you've got text and then you've got lines going through it. You need to be really careful. If those overlap, it's going to look weird or the text might get illegible. Committing to a print like this means you're going to put the effort into the pre-press production part with a great graphic designer to separate the colors properly. You're also going to make sure that when the item runs on the actual box press, that the press operator is paying enough attention. When you do this as a brand, you're committing to the fact that sometimes you might get some waste. If the print registration goes off a little bit too much, it might look just weird enough that those extra boxes need to be recycled. So it's a commitment to staying on top of the details. A couple other important elements of this box. One, it's got breathing holes. This is important because the produce probably needs a little bit of air. Also in the refrigerated truck, you actually want to get airflow in the box instead of when you have the items like the meal kit companies and stuff shipping to you, they're trying to keep cool inside the box. And then the flaps themselves. You've got an identification sticker here used by the delivery person. There's a QR code that actually kind of shows the address as well as it being typed out here. And then you've got the flaps having this interesting tuck design where this flap folds into these and it requires the box to not actually have adhesive or tape to strap it down. You couldn't ship this through the mail or through UPS without any kind of actual tape or something to bind the box together, but because they're putting it into their own refrigerated truck, this is just fine and you don't need to use extra materials. There is tape on the bottom of the box because otherwise this box style wouldn't stay together and the bottom would just open. All right, I don't know if you're ready for this. There's also a copy on the bottom of the box and it says, wow, if you're reading this side of the box, you're either a literate ant, very curious about Imperfect, or already repurposing your box for something awesome around the house. Great work. We won't tell you what to make with yours, but we've heard that 1 in 5 cats don't have enough forts to play in. Just saying. They're doing a fun job here of communicating that what you can do with this box is anything. You can also recycle it. I also like that they're kind of bringing you into the joke with the fact that you're reading this means you're paying a lot of attention already, and they're kind of giving you props for that. I'm going to use a flute identifier real quick and talk about the material that they're using. Yep, this is a B flute. You've got a standard B flute, corrugate, craft. You can also see here on the BMC, the box maker certificate, that it's a 44 ECT box. That speaks to its strength. A B flute 44 ECT is a pretty standard type of corrugate. And again, there's only printing on the outside of this box. So 2-color printing on the outside, no color printing on the inside. And then once you get into the box, just produce, imperfect produce that is. I really like how they're using their flaps. This is really clever. This talks about storing your produce properly, what to put in the fridge, what to put on your counter, etc. I love putting information exactly where people need it, when they need it. When you're unpacking this box, you're wondering, I wonder if this goes in the fridge, and it's like, yes, it does. There's also just some other fun messaging. We can't wait to meet you. Why this crazy flap design? I'll tell you why. Look at this. Look, tucking, 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 tucked. All right, this subtle tucking gives the box just enough kind of stick-to-itiveness to stay closed in the truck. Now, I'd like to highlight something about this for you that's very, very important, okay? Because when you go to a grocery store, you end up with more packaging than this. They won't let you walk out of the grocery store and just grab this thing, whatever this thing is. What's this thing? A spaghetti squash. They won't just let you grab a spaghetti squash and just walk on out. They're gonna encourage you to bag it and put it into other little things. They're gonna put stickies on it and all sorts of stuff. There's gonna be little twist ties and stuff that you're supposed to use. There's this sensation that when you buy food online, sometimes you're overusing packaging. I just want the record to reflect that in this case, there's less packaging being used than if these items went through the grocery store, okay? So all this stuff is sitting in here. You got a potato right here, put that on my shoulder. You got an onion, you got all your crowd pleasers here. But then the only time they actually use extra packaging is for something like cherries. They're too fragile. They'd also kind of be all cherryified in the bottom. You don't want that. So they're using stuff when they need to, but otherwise it's just sitting in here, which is super practical. I think it's time to roll in the recap. Imperfect Produce is doing a lot of nifty things with their packaging, but let's talk about some things that stand out to me. First up, it's self-shipped. What I mean is that Imperfect Produce is often acting as their own carrier with their own refrigerated trucks. That allows them to do nifty things like not tape the top of the box closed and get even more creative with their packaging. Number 2, it's the bare minimum. I mean this in a positive way. I don't need to get this all wrapped up and shrink wrap and stuff. It's just in the box. I love that because it supports the brand's message as well. And 3, it's feel good. There's so much fun messaging on the box. I love the fact that I feel like I'm kind of rescuing the produce from some other fate of wastage, etc. But they're really communicating with me all sorts of information that makes me feel good as I'm about to bite into that apple or whatnot. This has been Imperfect Produce Unboxed.